Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. Going to have a look at the weather next 10 to 14 days. For today's second video, day 10 will take us around the 6th of November. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that. We extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFSV2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. And I shall get on that for you very shortly. Just say that the first video released today was the ECM WF 30-day look ahead for the UK and the rest of Europe as well. So it looks as though we're going to be in for some mild and unsettled weather in the next week, but then signs of a change, possibly something drier and colder coming along for Western Europe for early November. And of course, we'll be covering all of that in this video. It does look as though a pattern change to something drier and colder is possibly on the way. So I should get on that for you right now. We're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic, well, actually in the Gulf of Mexico. Really, like the Caribbean. So we've got Tropical Storm Zeta right now. Tropical Storm Zeta is just there somewhere across the Yucatan Peninsula. So, Tropical Storm Zeta is giving maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 984 millibars and moving northwestwards at 14 miles per hour. Let's click on Zeta. See what Zeta is going to do. So we need to go to warnings and cone static images. There we go. We can see that Zeta is at any moment imminently going to become a hurricane. So at the moment, this is Tropical Storm Zeta over the coast of Mexico. Will move out into the Gulf of Mexico in the coming hours. The next couple of hours will pick up strength as it does so, and will move from being a tropical storm to a hurricane. And then Hurricane Zeta is going to rapidly move northwards through the Gulf of Mexico, slamming onto the Gulf Coast, somewhere between Louisiana and Alabama, with a central hit on Mississippi, like late tomorrow and into Thursday. And yeah, this looks like it'll be quite a significant hit on that Gulf Coast from Hurricane Zeta once again. Let's go back and have a look at discussion. See what winds are going to be doing with this. So it's going to be a Category 1 hurricane. So currently giving maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour inland over the Yucatan Peninsula. But within 12 hours, within the next 12 hours, it's back over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. It's powered up to 75 miles per hour. And so that gets it to Category 1 hurricane status, and then in 36 hours time, Hurricane Zeta, still as a Category 1 hurricane, will slam onto the Gulf Coast of the United States of America. Quite a big hit coming up on the Gulf Coast, and these are the points currently for Tropical Storm Zeta via the National Hurricane Center. So point number 1 is tropical storm conditions will continue in portions of the northern Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico through this morning. Heavy rainfall is expected across the Yucatan Peninsula, the Cayman Islands, and western Cuba today, which could lead to flash flooding in urban areas. Point number 2, hurricane conditions and life-threatening storm surge are expected along portions of the northern Gulf Coast by late Wednesday, and storm surge or hurricane warnings are in effect. Residents in the watch areas should follow any advice given by local officials. Point number 3 is between tonight and Thursday, heavy rainfall is expected from portions of the central US Gulf Coast to the southern Appalachians and mid-Atlantic states near and in advance of Zeta, while rainfall will lead to flash urban, small stream and minor river flooding. So quite a nasty hit from Hurricane Zeta coming up to the Gulf Coast in the next, in the next day or so. So anybody watching this on the Gulf Coast, please do heed warnings of the National Hurricane Center, NOAA, and your local government agencies. And take care if you're on the Gulf Coast of the United States and in the path of Hurricane Zeta. Right, coming back to home, this is how things are currently looking in terms of the GFS rare temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Belfast today, the suggested location for this part of the video. If you'd like to have your local town or city featured within this part of the video, then please let us know through comments at GavsWeatherVids, and we are always happy to feature your local town or city when we can. So red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Belfast. We are going to go a little bit cooler than average in the next sort of 24 hours or so. Then we're going to see a temperature lifting up, however, as we go through Thursday and Friday into the weekend. So milder weather is on the way as we go into weekend, and then through to start of next week it becomes colder again. Temperatures will drop away through the early part of next week. And then we move on into the end of the first week, into the second week of November, and it looks like the upper air temperatures then are quite close to average. Going to be plenty of rainfall coming up as well, so lots of rain over the next few days, right way through to weekend. And as the temperatures lifting up at the end of week and into weekend, so it does look very wet as well. So really pulling in southwest winds. The rain is going to be really, rain will be really piling in, particularly to northern and western parts of the country at the end of week and into weekend, despite the fact, but it will be mild. Now after that, into next week, we actually have a bit of a drying trend there for a while anyway. Might get a little bit more unsettled later on in the second week of November, but for a while we have got a drying trend as things are cooling down. So higher pressure building in and probably turning us dry, but probably also turning us colder through the early part of November. Temperature anomalies from the 27th of October to 4th of November are going to be milder than average. It's milder than average week coming out, not just the UK, but for all areas of Europe. Look at that, everywhere. Every single place in Europe is milder than average, right away from sort of Ireland and Portugal there, all the way over to like southern Russia, and even down to the Middle East. It actually looks pretty warm. So it is quite rare to see like an entire continent bathed in one particular temperature anomaly, but that's what we've got there. There is one area that's a little bit cooler than average. Can you make it out? Just there, Iceland looks a little bit cooler than average. And maybe down here, one or two of the Greek islands might be as well. I don't know, but generally it is a very, very warm scene anyway across many parts of Europe in a weekend, or certainly a very mild scene to come. Rainfall anomalies from the 27th of October, 12th of November look like that. Generally wetter than average, particularly for Scandinavia and for the UK and for Ireland, as well. It gets progressively drier the further south you go, through down into Mediterranean. This is the latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net. So a big area of low pressure is driving the weather at the moment to south of Greenland. So there's this area of low pressure just here. It's actually the remains of Hurricane Epsilon. Talking about this in a lot in the videos the past few days. So this is an area of low pressure, a major and significant area of low pressure to the south of Greenland and Iceland, containing the remains of Hurricane Epsilon. You see there are very strong winds on the southern side of that low pressure. Thankfully, below is going to stay like to the south of Greenland. It's not going to sort of sweep in to northern Scotland like a lot of these low pressures can do. This is just going to sit to south of Greenland. So the worst of the winds with this are going to be on the southern side of this area of low pressure in the middle of the North Atlantic. Nevertheless, we will still have windy conditions in the next 24 hours, and with this deep low ex-hurricane south of Greenland, we can expect to see some big sort of waves and some pretty stormy weather out to sea around all western coastal areas of the UK and Ireland as well. Expect some pretty large waves to sort of be telling us further out into the Atlantic Ocean. There's this major storm system churning away. And don't get me wrong, although we're not going to have the worst of winds with this, so the worst winds are going to be out in the middle of the North Atlantic. It is still going to be pretty windy, especially overnight and into tomorrow as well. Right, so this is how the UK Met is currently looking. Let's just pull this back round and have a look at Zeta, shall we, as well? So we can do that as well. So if we pull this right way around to the Gulf of Mexico, there's Zeta just over the northern part of Mexico. Let's zoom in a bit, and we can see that the current position of Zeta is just there. So that's how a tropical storm looks on these wind flow maps. But this is going to go to a hurricane, of course, in the next few hours as it moves northwards into the Gulf of Mexico. Right, let's have a look at UK Met for Friday then. So on Friday, we're pulling up a very mild southwesterly wind. So temperatures are going to lift up at the end of the week. We're going to pump up the air from the Azores. But also, with this mild weather, we are going to be bringing lots of heavy rain as well. There's going to be like a waving weather front front, but sort of coming and going through the weekend along this line just here. We're going to have waves and developing features along that waving front that will bring pulses of heavy rain, particularly into northern and west parts of the country. These long fetch southwesterlies combined with waving weather fronts that are stuck can bring copious amounts of rain to like western parts of the country, so like southwest Scotland, potentially Northern Ireland, northwest England, north and west Wales. Those sort of areas can get copious amounts of rain from this sort of long fetch southwesterly pattern at this time of the year. That's Saturday, so we've got another area of low pressure developing along that waving weather front, this area of low pressure just there. That will enhance the rain, bring another push of heavy rain through the course of Saturday, particularly north and west. Notice the isobars are tight packed as well, so it will be windy over the weekend all the time. Winds are coming from the southwest, so it will be very mild, but the price we pay for that is wind and rain, and particularly so again to many of these northern and western parts of the country. By the time we get through to Monday, we are starting to simplify the pattern then. So we're getting rid of that waving front via a cold front. There will be one last cold front to push through across the country on Monday. Behind that, so that will clear away the rain and also the very mild temperatures, by the way. So behind that, it will turn drier, brighter, and it will start to turn colder as well. And then we watch out for this build of pressure just here to possibly start to move towards us through the rest of next week. Let's pick this up with the GFS. So again, let's have a GFS. That's as far as we go for UK Met. Let's have a GFS looking for Friday. Again, very mild, but also potentially really wet. Some parts of the country that carries on into Saturday as well. Going to be mild, wet, windy weekends. So yeah, going to be one of those weekends, you know, for staying in and watching the telly, but it is going to be mild though, so we won't have to worry too much about temperatures, but there's going to be a lot of wind and rain over the weekend. Monday, the cold front pushes through, clears away all of that those mild temperatures, and also clears away the rain as well. So as we go through into Tuesday, we're in a cooler, showering northwesterly wind with high pressure beginning to build out in the Atlantic, and we push this area of high pressure towards us through the middle of next week. So all changed by Wednesday. We are moving into a 1,035 millibar area of high pressure. That's beginning to take over the weather. And so by the time you get through to Thursday, look at that, what a change within a couple of days. We are now under a 1,040 millibar area of high pressure, an intense area of high pressure, sitting right over top of the country. This will be quite a cold ridge though, so this potentially starts to bring us the chance of our first significant night frost of the season through the middle and second half of next week. That high pressure sitting over just to the east of the country at the end of next week will keep it mainly dry, but again, possibly cold. There could be dense fog with this, and I certainly think there's a risk of some quite hard overnight frost as well if that high pressure really gets going. That's day 10, of course, Friday 6th of November. Beyond day 10, the high pressure begins to slip back towards Denmark and southern Sweden. We start to pull in a slightly milder sort of southerly, southeasterly type wind. Now, I think what we'll probably do with this is just bring in a lot of cloud. So we'll probably lose the frost risk there, but we'll probably start to turn things very cloudy and claggy, I would have thought. Could be anticyclonic gloom and that sort of thing. Heading up towards the end of the GFS run, it's the second week of November. This is Thursday, 12th of November. Possibly signs by then, but we begin to try and turn things a little bit more unsettled. But there is also a build of pressure getting going over Scandinavia. That's one of those charts where the GFS, where it looks like GFS doesn't really know what to do, really, what to do with the high pressures and the low pressures. So it's just defaulting to something that is, but in between, really, neither high pressure or low pressure dominate. That may be the way it goes, but my guess is that, beyond sort of days 10, 11, 12, GFS probably doesn't know what to do with the area of high pressure. These are the dew points. So we look at these more in the winter, but this is the time of year when we do start, begin to take dew points a little bit more seriously. So you can see that on Friday we have got very mild, even quite warm dew points, bathed in those yellow to almost orange colours. They continue into sunny as well, so we are going to have, again, very mild temperatures over the weekend. But by Tuesday, we pushed that cold front through. Notice how the yellow colours are receding back eastwards, and we've got green colours appearing across the UK and Ireland. That tells us we've pushed a cold front through. We've cooled down the air. It's not particularly cold at this point, but we have cooled down the air, and we're going on to the cool side, cold front, and also onto the cool side of the jet stream. Now, as we get through to Thursday, we see, I hope you make this out, you can see this 0 line just here. That's showing that the dew points are going below freezing across many, particularly central northern parts of the UK, but also across Ireland as well. When the dew points go below freezing, then we will be getting night frost. So that is 6 a.m. on the 5th of November, and if it came off, it would be telling us that under that area of high pressure there will be widespread frost developing, the first significant frost of the season through the second half of next week. That's 6 a.m. on the 6th of November, and it's even colder, particularly across central northern parts. Going to show it again. Widespread frost is definitely suggested there with the GFS under that area of high pressure through the middle and second half of next week. By the way, when the dew point goes below freezing, it will usually snow if there is precipitation, as long as the upper air temperature is under 0 degrees. If the dew points are below freezing but the upper air temperature is above 0 degrees, then what you'll get is freezing rain. Typically, so the atmosphere, the snow can't be staying within the atmosphere. It will turn back to rain as it falls through the atmosphere if the upper air temperature is above 0 degrees. But if the dew point, if the surface temperature is below freezing, then you will get freezing rain. The rain will freeze as it hits the surface. If the upper air temperatures are below 0 degrees, anything below 0 degrees to -5 in terms of 850 HPA temperatures, and the dew point is below freezing, then that will typically support snow. You'll hear a lot more about dew points and upper air temperatures and thickness lines as we get into the winter, unless we have a polar vortex of doom, of course, and then we won't need to talk about anything like that, because it'll just be continuously mild and we won't get any snow or freezing rain or anything other than wet and windy weather. Right, this is GM. So Friday, again, long effect southwesterly, very mild, and also outbreaks of rain, particularly to the north and to west. That's Saturday and into Sunday. Again, lots of rain coming and going, particularly northwest parts of the country. Winds remain from the southwest, so it will continue to be very mild. This cold front pushes through during the course of Monday, brings a bout of heavy rain to all places, and then the air starts to cool down. We go into this cooler, showering northwesterly by Tuesday, and then high pressure begins to ridge in from off the Atlantic as we get into Wednesday. We settle things down under that area of high pressure. We'll turn mostly dry, but of course it could be quite cold on the surface. I think the upper air temperatures with this run are pretty mild. Upper air temperatures actually quite mild with that ridge of high pressure. Down on the surface, though, you need to look at dew point to see whether it is colder to be producing frost. But my guess is it probably would be, because we do have a northerly ahead of the ridge, so cool air, or quite cold air, is established, and then the ridge builds in. So I see no reason particularly why that shouldn't be producing night frost through the second half next week. And then the ECM looks like this. Again, long effect southwest on Friday, bringing lots of heavy rain and mild or very mild temperatures across the country. That goes on into weekend as well, so particularly for northern west parts of the country, it will be very wet over weekend, but it will be very mild with those southwesterly winds. By the time we get through to from Monday to Tuesday, so the cold front has pushed through, possibly turning very stormy there, by the way. The other two models don't really show this, but look at this area of low pressure just here, just west of Ireland at midnight on Monday. This is a cold front, really. This is a cold front, but it's developing an area of low pressure along the cold front. So look what happens. So we're going 24-hourly steps with the ECM, annoyingly. But look what happens with that low pressure by the time we get through to that's midnight Monday. Look what happens by the time you get through to midnight Tuesday. That area of low pressure then is off the east coast of Scotland with a very, very tight packed ice bars wrapped around it. So the low pressure has, along the cold front, a low pressure has formed and gone in that sort of direction right through the central part of the country, and it's whipped itself up into a major area of low pressure back. So I think the ECM does actually look very stormy for the early part of next week. But remember, the other two aren't doing that. The other two are just pushing the cold front through very straightforwardly, on Monday, and just pushes through, takes a band of rain across the country, and it's nothing too much to worry about. But the ECM does look a little bit more dramatic with that. Anyway, by the time we get through to Tuesday, we're in mist, northwesterly wind, much cooler, and also heavy showers packing into the north and the west, and then in comes the ridge of high pressure, again building in from the Atlantic as going to second half next week, turns mostly dry, away from northern Scotland anyway, turns mostly dry, but again could be quite cold under that ridge of high pressure with the risk of overnight frost. This rainfall forecast based on that ECM run from Spreadio.com, so you're going to see loads of rain coming and going, particularly piling into these western parts of the country, not as much in the east. At times some of this rain does get through to the east, but generally it's in the north and in the west that this rain just continues to pour and pour and pour for several days. Notice like southwest Scotland, northwest England, much of Wales, particularly the north and west of Wales, the rain just keeps on piling in, and these are the sort of situations that can produce a lot of rainfall and localized flooding as well. That situation as we go into the weekend. So again, more rain piling into the north and west as well. And remember, it's a very nasty area of low pressure across the country. Remember, the other two models aren't really doing that, but this is like Monday, where it actually turns stormy with the ECM in many parts of the country. So it is a little bit of a worry what we're seeing there, but the other two models don't look anywhere near as bad as that for Monday next week. And then we're into the push of winds from the northwest, so it turns colder, showers begin to turn wintry in the northwest. Temperatures will fall by several degrees, so it'll be a lot cooler. But it will be turning drier as well, particularly as that high pressure starts to build in and settle things down as we head up towards day 10. These are the options that are on the table with in the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which is the 6th of November. So from the Icelandic Met Office, so you've got 13 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure to our north. High pressure is over the country, jet stream is to our north, but of course under the ridge it might be quite chilly. 12 with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the southwest, winds from sort of westerly direction with that, so again a lot of dry weather, probably a little bit milder. 9 have high pressure dominating over country, that's going to be mainly dry, again could be quite cold. 9 just here, including the control and the operational, have high pressure sitting right over top of country, and 8 with high pressure just a bit to the north, slightly more of an easterly flow there. With those 8. Most of those options involve high pressure taking over by day 10, 6th of November. So looking a lot drier. And question mark is what the temperature is doing. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This is the 11th of November. So Remembrance Day, of course. So we have got 30 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure then sort of over Scandinavia, or southern Scandinavia anyway. We'll be bringing in an easterly wind, mainly dry, quite cold as well with those easterly winds. And then 21 have low pressure to the north of Scotland, high pressure pulled out to the middle of the Atlantic. Winds flow and direction, jet stream flow is sort of set at northwest to southeast. A little bit more unsettled. Both options look quite cold though, or certainly chilly. Either an easterly in November is going to be quite cool or cold, and northwesterlies aren't going to be particularly warm either. So they both look quite chilly, but from a very different sort of scenario. And then finally, it's FSV2, so these are 500 millibar heights broken down to week periods. The first week period takes from 27th of October to 2nd of November. The coming week has high pressure to the southwest, low pressure to the northwest, winds are up from the southwest, so going to be very mild, but there will be rain piling into northern and western parts of the country in particular. Big change by the time we get through to week 2. This is the 3rd to the 9th of November under a large area of high pressure. Obviously, that's going to be much, much drier, but it could also be colder with the risk of overnight frost. Week 3 takes us from the 10th through to the 16th of November, and we begin to pull the high pressure out to our west. Some low pressure is forming up to the north. That might be starting to turn a bit more unsettled, and will probably be quite cool as well, with winds coming in from a northwesterly direction. Maybe go through to week 4, which is going to be the 17th to 23rd of November. Trough of low pressure gets going over Scandinavia then. High pressure down towards Spain is trying to keep the wind in, or trying to pull the wind into westerly direction. However, we also have some northern blocking going on up here. High pressure up towards Greenland and back into the Arctic. I think overall that could be quite a cold week, possibly bringing in like a northwest-southeast alignment to the jet stream, and may even start to pull the wind into the north, depending on whether we need to get the high pressure out of Spain. So depending on where we get the high pressure out of Spain and push into that sort of direction, with a trough over Scandinavia, we could possibly start pulling in a northerly wind there, maybe, which will bring a taste of winter perhaps from the 17th to 23rd of November. Finally, just saying, if you're enjoying videos at the moment, please can you click like on the videos. Make sure you subscribe to the GavsWeatherVids YouTube channel. Let us know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. That'd be absolutely fantastic if you can do all of those things for us. We are getting ever closer to 8k subscribers. I think we are now sitting at 7,850 something subscribers, so we've got to put on around another 150 subs to get to 8k. When we get to 8k, we're going to give away a £30 Amazon voucher. So yeah, I think it's going to happen for the end of the year, and it's going to be quite exciting when we get to 8k subs. So please like, subscribe, tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids, and let us know in the comments what you think. Right, that's it for today's videos. Tomorrow, we're going to have a USA forecast, and then we're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock. We'll be live streaming a 10 to 14 day update, so everything that we show you in this video will be shown in the live stream. The only difference is that rather than being an upload, it will be a live video. And so I shall see you at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening for our Wednesday evening live stream. For this video, though, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.